Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Friday, September 29th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me to present the nominations for the Stage 5 Ninja Awards is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good, man. Gotta get used to that name. And Rich, where are you at right now?
I am in the great state of Minnesota right now.
Interesting. What are you doing? All of a sudden I hear that you're traveling.
Yeah, I'm traveling for business, so I'm here recording in my hotel room. Very pleased to be south of the border, visiting my neighbors to the south. Love y'all.
It's so weird you saying south of the border. I have to get used to that, bro.
So what have you been up to lately? We hardly had a chance to talk. We've been covering Ninja for like 6 months now.
It's crazy. We're finally in the off season, man. Yeah, I've been training a whole lot. I'm doing the Spartan Trifecta again next year. I'm also running a marathon, and I'm going to try my hardest, guys, to at least apply this year for American Ninja Warrior. So I've been doing rock climbing, which I am a complete newbie at. I've gone about 3 times at this point, and my forearms are done. But man, huge props and respect to everybody that rock climbs, especially without the belays. Oh boy, that is terrifying. It's not even like it's hard and everything, but more so it's just a mental thing. Going upside down, holding on for your dear life by your fingertips, not fun.
So are you doing like rock climbing walls, or are you doing bouldering? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing indoor rock climbing with the belays, like top roping is what they call it. And now I sound like a
Oh, you're the expert now.
Right now. Yeah, I'm a total expert now, right? But yeah, there's also like bouldering where it's like you're off a rope and you're just like doing little tiny holds on the bottom part. I think it goes up maybe like 8 feet or so. Yeah, it's cool. Bouldering's way, way harder than it looks, guys. And that's all I can say. Yeah, I have not done the outdoor rock climbing though. That can wait.
Cool. Really excited to see how you make out. I want to see this video. I think your video will be something.
It'll be something.
Well, you've seen so many, right? We've gone over so many of them. You have at least some sense of what works and what doesn't. At least I hope at this point we do.
Yeah. When I make it, you all will be able to see it.
Cool.
And I don't know.
Cool. So we're here to talk about the Ninja Awards and kind of set it up, what it is and what their nominees are and everything. So thank you everyone that sent in your choices. Even though we hadn't kind of announced the categories, a lot of people have taken an interest in it, have sent in their ideas. Really appreciate that. It did shape some of the nominees, reminded us of things that had happened and people that we needed to recognize and run. So thank you all very, very much. You did help shape what's to come.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Rich, why don't you run down once again for everybody what the Stage 5 Ninja Awards are and who we're working with. It's not just an awards between me and you, Rich. It's between a variety of people, a congregation.
What we're trying to do is get an opinion from a lot of the super fans from the Ninja community. We're working with Taran and Lita from Rob Has a Podcast, who will be joining us next week to help present these, along with Travis from ANW Fantasy. So there's going to be 5 of us on next week's podcast. And what we've done is pulled in some of the other content creators out there. I reached out to everyone that I could think of that helps create this Ninja fan community to get their opinions. So they'll be voting as well. And we're going to see how everyone makes out, who gets recognized from a multitude of categories that we're going to run through today.
So just to clarify, we're not involving any ninjas for many reasons. Basically, we want to make this specifically voted upon in a pool of people that really cover the sport and as a whole, that have encompassed it and looked from the outside the bubble, where we might not have so many like close-knit relationships and biases towards one particular guy. So, yeah. It's going to be super fun, and I'm excited.
All that being said, let's take a look at the first category here. We have the Best Breakout Rookie Male. And the nominees are, a little drum roll here, Charlie Andrews, Tyler Gillette, Kevin Carbone, Josh Salinas, and Jody Avila.
Wow. I mean, just think of those names. All of those have had such incredible stories. I can picture every single one in my head and their entire journey throughout the season. This season has been an amazing time, especially for rookies. I mean, we've gotten so many new names, and yeah, that is some fun stuff. I'm really intrigued of who's going to win that, because really I could see any of them winning, dude.
Yeah, that one is probably the hardest category that we had to pick, I think, because there were a couple of names of rookie ninjas who did quite well overall, and even did better than some of these competitors, but we had to look at it from a show perspective, or at least that was how we chose to do it. So not just their ability and their results from the course, but how they affected the show, and as viewers, I guess, who affected us the most. Moving on to Best Breakout Rookie Female, we have Bree Widener, Rebecca Bonilla, Lindsay Eskeldson, Sarah Heeson, and Janique Levitt.
That's interesting, because in many factors, it depends on how you're viewing this thing. If you're looking at a storyline wise, pop culture wise, how far they get. I mean, there's different avenues of how people can vote. I'm not going to show my hand, guys, but I think this is going to be a very interesting category, and I think we might get a surprise for a winner in this one.
Yeah, I'm a little torn in this one. I can see this could be a close one. But next up, we have Best New Obstacle. For this, we have the Wingnuts, Double Dipper, Crank It Up, Nail Clipper, and the Elevator Climb.
Where do you even go in this category, man? That's an intriguing one, huh?
Yeah, overall, we've had a lot of good new obstacles this season, really. It was I think this obstacle design challenge was the greatest idea they ever had.
Yeah, which is interesting, because when they first announced it, I thought it was cute, but I didn't think it'd be as big of a factor as it actually was in the season. But it really made a difference. I mean, Crank It Up winning was intriguing, because I could have sworn by the end of the season it was the Wingnuts that won the entire thing. Who won? Who was the guy that made the Wingnuts?
Wingnuts was Carbone. Kevin Carbone? Yeah.
Kevin Carbone? Yeah, that dude got robbed, because Wingnut should have won.
Yeah. So it's a tough call. Crank It Up was really cool. I actually liked all these obstacles, which is basically why they're on this list, because we all agreed that they were the best of the bunch. So it's a tough call.
Nail Clipper, we found out, thanks to Travis over at ANW Fantasy, has the lowest completion rate of all new obstacles. So that's going to be an intriguing fact, because I know Nail Clipper was very controversial. Not a lot of people liked it, but it does have that historical factor. I don't know. That elevator climb, brutal, man. It was a nice modification to the invisible ladder. Crank It Up won, and I don't know. Those Wingnuts. I mean, everybody knows those Wingnuts.
Actually, that leads in perfectly to our next category, which is the Ninja Killer of the Year. Ooh. Which includes the Nail Clipper, the Wedge, everybody's favorite, the Floating Monkey Bars, Hourglass Drop, and Wingnut Alley.
Oh, God.
So it depends on your perspective on Ninja Killers, I guess. We don't tend to frown on them as much as I think some fans do. But if you hate Ninja Killers, this is the list you don't want to see.
Yeah, those names just bring back bad memories. I'm like, oh, man, it took out so many people. I'm not disgusted by them, guys. Just, man, bad times for all those ninjas. That's going to be an intriguing one. I certainly hope people don't vote just based on stats and vote more on the funness, and just how much of an influence it did on their particular episodes and their regions. I'm really interested to see how that one goes.
Yeah, because you can look at that from a few different ways. I mean, if we went by pure stats, we can pull that number easily. It's, like you said, the impact that it had, I think, is how I'm going to view it, is what one makes me cringe and is going to make me dread to see again.
Yeah. I mean, when I think back to last season, the Wedge had such an influence, that had such a story and an impact. And this season, we had quite a few of them, and they're on this list. I mean, say what you want about that nail clipper, it made a huge factor in that particular episode. Same with the Wingnut Alley, and, the Wedge was back this season. I mean, a lot of these guys had major factors in their episodes. So it's really a subjective thing, and I'm really curious to see how people vote looking back.
The next category is really interesting, and it's one that Travis from ANW Fantasy put together. It's the most impressive stat or record. So
The Nerd Award.
The Nerd Award. Well, it's what sounds the best to you. What is the most impressive achievement, I guess?
Yeah.
We have Joe Moravsky, who now 4 to 5 seasons he's reached stage 3.
Crazy.
Ian Dory having his 4th straight city finals clear. Brian Arnold getting his 6th straight stage 1 clear.
Ooh.
Travis Rosen being the oldest man to complete stage 1 at 42.
Get it.
And Drew Dreschel having the fastest time in city qualifier, city final, and stage 1.
Burning them.
So yeah, that's an interesting category. I'm not sure which way to go with that one.
Yeah. You know what? Everybody at home, I'm really curious. Please send me what you guys think. It's not going to influence my voting because I'm going to do voting probably tonight. But man, I'm really curious to see what people think about this one. I mean, any record right here can win, and it's completely warranted. Those are some major accolades. Props to everybody involved. That's a tough one.
The next category is Best Comeback Story, and we had a lot of them this season. We had a lot of cool ones.
Yeah, that was a theme.
J.J. Woods, Lance Pekas, David Campbell, Travis Rosen, and Casey Catanzaro.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we have a mixed bag here. Some of them that, went out early in stage 1 previously or had issues with particular obstacles, and others that fell in city qualifiers last year. So there's a lot of different reasons you could pick a comeback story for one over another.
Yeah, man. And this is why groupthink, I think, is very useful, because I wouldn't even agree with some of the names on this list, to be honest with y'all. But the names that are there they're intriguing, and I'm very curious to see how people vote and the reasoning for the voting. Just because some of these guys have interesting stories, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a comeback story. So,
All right. And the next one is going to be one that I think some people will really appreciate and others may not like so much. The shameful moment of the year.
Yes. Where's my bell? Hold up. Get on this. Let's shame it.
Why can't you remember your bell?
Man, it's all over the place. I gotta shame everything in this house, man.
I have this weird picture of you wandering the neighborhood just shaming people constantly.
Yeah, it's a little accurate.
So the nominees for Shameful Moment of the Year, we have Christine Leahy for her stage 2 interview of Drew Dreschel. The Vegas finale preview showing Najee Richardson on the cliffhanger. The new women's rule for the regional qualifiers. The Pec Flex boot camp Eddie Stewart segment in the Daytona qualifiers.
Booty over boobs.
And the Suitor 7 qualifier positions going to one family.
Man, I want to ding every single one of those, but we'll save it. We'll save it, y'all. There's going to be some major dinging happening.
Yeah, it's a tough list to pick from.
Oh, I want to clarify once again, the dings and the shameful moments are not about the Ninja Warriors themselves. I don't have any problems with any of them. It's more of the show presenting them in a certain way.
Exactly. That's why we tried to focus it on shameful editing, basically.
Yes.
So next up, we had the shocking fall of the year. This is an interesting category for sure. We've got Brian Wilczewski.
Heartbreaker, man.
Oh, these are all heartbreakers. Brian Wilczewski, Jake Murray, Jesse Graff, the Towers of Power, and Drew Dreschel.
I mean, that's tough, dude. I mean, we can't just look at, this one fell earlier in the season than the other. It's about the most shocking, the one that just stunned us the most, where we just weren't expecting it. And that's what's going to be really interesting with this one. Man, they all can win. They're all heartbreaking. Very intriguing category. I have no idea who I'm going to vote for on that one. I'm going to have to really think about that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because actually we had missed one of these names originally because we were so focused on earlier falls. So thankfully people have been sending in their submissions, and I might as well say it caught us up on the fact that Jesse's fall was also very shocking.
Yep.
The next category is actually very near and dear to our heart. The Invisible Ninja Award for ninjas who did not get the airtime that they deserved this season.
They 100% deserve.
So the nominees are Flip Rodriguez, Nicholas Coolidge, Andrew Lowe's, Matthew Ilgenfritz, and Ryan Stratus.
Those are intriguing ones. And all of these particular competitors didn't really get a single run shown, right? They might have gone fast forwarded or a small portion, but they didn't really get any airtime.
The only one that got a full run was Flip Rodriguez did in the qualifier. But other than that, he wasn't shown. Everyone else had either half runs or all fast forwards or just totally skipped at times.
That's interesting. And I think Flip is definitely warranted to be on there just because he's such a major presence on the show. When you think about one of the most popular ninjas in the entire sport, it's Flip Rodriguez. So it's really intriguing that you can get any shine, especially after like his incredible storyline last year. I mean, he really opened up his heart and like one of the deepest, darkest parts of his past to a national audience. So all of this is really interesting. I don't know who I'm going to vote for, man.
Yeah, I don't get it. They normally feature Flip very predominantly. He's such a hugely popular ninja that even though he did have one full run, I did definitely agree that was a little bit, he was shorted basically for the amount of fans and the amount that attention he brings to the sport.
But not just that, dude. I mean, we have Ryan Stratus, who's been on every single season. He's such a diehard. They give him no love the entire season. That's really intriguing. And if you know what was going on this entire season with Ryan Stratus, I mean, he's got such a storyline they could have featured. And then we've got the two that they just refuse to feature at all, Andrew Lowe's and Nicholas Coolidge. And man, they can easily take this, or they can be completely ghosted like usual. So who the heck knows, man? I mean, Andrew Lowe's, they didn't even feature his run at all. Not even fast forwarded or anything. Talk about getting ghosted. Oh, so many names. Once again, it's all about how you perceive the category and who you think deserves it.
Yeah, it's worth noting that Matthew Ilgenfritz, while that may not be a name you're familiar with, it wasn't one that I recognized right off the bat. He made it to stage 2 as a rookie and never had anything except fast forwards, if that. So definitely someone that flew under the radar this season.
Could you imagine being a rookie, making it to stage 2, all excited? You're like, dude, I got so far, I'm going to be featured so predominantly. And then you get like no airtime.
Yeah, that would suck. That would really, really suck, especially as a rookie.
Yeah, that's brutal, man.
So that brings us down to our final 2 categories, the big ones. We have the Female Ninja of the Year. Nominees include Alyssa Beard, Jessie Graff, Jessie Lebrecq, Barkley Stockett, and Maggie Thorne.
Those are some big names, y'all. Some big names right there. Really interesting. Will you vote for storyline? Will you vote for who got the furthest, Who's the most impressive? So many different intriguing ways of going about this. Also, are you including the entire year? Are you including Team Ninja Warrior? Or are you including just American Ninja Warrior Season 9? I kind of vote for throughout the entire year. I include Team Ninja Warrior. That's just my own personal preference, y'all. So really intriguing of how this one's going to go.
Yeah, it's an interesting category. It was a really good year for women on Ninja Warrior. So
very good year.
So many options. So many great female ninjas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy though, Rich, because only one woman made it to stage 2, but that doesn't detract from the fact that the women have been so impressive this year. They might not, like, yeah, a lot of women failed in stage 1 in the Vegas finals, but the storylines, the importance, just the spotlight in the female ninjas have just garnered them to becoming such an important factor of the sport. And, dude, big year for them.
I feel like I want to give an honorary mention right now to Michelle Warnke for completing the salmon ladder in the city finals course and not going to Vegas. Like, that's just absolutely insane. And I wish we had a category for her on here somewhere.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
The final category is Male Ninja of the Year, and we have Joe Moravsky, Najee Richardson, Sean Bryan, Drew Dreschel, and Lance Pekus.
Some big names. I mean, first of all, I just have to say, because of how well he did in Team Ninja Warrior, I wouldn't be completely stunned by the fact that Sean Bryan is on there. But Lance Pekus has improved so incredibly much. Like, he earned that spot in this list. And I'm really happy for him. Really intrigued about seeing who wins. Because if you look at the storyline, the overall storyline, man, it's really hard to go against somebody like Lance Pekus. But if you look at overall performance, how do you not look at Drew Dreschel or Joe Moravsky, right? Overall throughout the entire year. But if you look at the young guns and talk about charisma and promise, you look at freaking Najee Richardson. So it's like, where do you go? Which factor do you weigh in bigger?
I don't know, but we're going to find out what everybody else decided to do when we come back next week. So we discussed all the details of the individual episodes, and we did cover the finale. But Bijan, what did you think of the season, like, as a whole? Did you think it was a good season? Do you think it was a step up from the previous one, a step down? Where are we at?
Oh, comparing to last season, that's tough, man. I'd say it's even keeled with last season. Last year's season, going into it, I was really intrigued about seeing what new obstacles they'd introduce, right? In many ways, this was a season where they really changed up a lot of things. I feel like we skipped a season in many ways with what the expectations were. This was a season I was expecting from last season. And in that way, it's a step up. I really like the dynamic where they mixed in a lot of new ninjas with veteran ninjas. And in another way, it wasn't so appalling because I damn near lost my mind when I heard that David Campbell wasn't even like chosen to be on the show, and he had to freaking wait in the walk-on line last year. I damn near lost my mind. So I'm glad people smartened up. They've got a good mix between the two and a lot of intriguing storylines also. With that said, we got some of our top ninjas getting some ridiculously dumb stories and vignettes where they weren't needed. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't need to hear about what's going on in every component of Megan Martin's life, or there were some other ninjas where I'm just like, why are we talking about this right now? Yeah,
I feel like they're stretching a little bit. Overall, I love this season. I thought it was great. I thought a lot of great new obstacles. The ninjas did better this year. Because last year it was a little depressing. There were so many falling on stage 1 that it kind of took away from the finale, I thought. And some people would argue that stage 2 was the same way. But really, as long as I've got at least one stage full of a lot of clears, then I'm good. I'm good with stage 2 being kind of a breaking point so that only the absolute best are moving on.
Yeah. We got a lot of really heartbreaking stories, but also a lot of uplifting stories. And I think the editing was more on point this year, more than it's ever been. Yeah, there were still the Suitor 7 and stuff like that, and the boob dancing, but, you know, it wasn't as egregious as horse abs and stuff like that, you know, so I really enjoyed these storylines going into the season, and in many ways, this still is a show, and those are important.
Yeah, and if I was going to give one criticism, it would be that they didn't spread out the stories quite as much. They tended to focus on, it seems to be a deliberate choice to follow a few ninjas from the beginning of the season to the end, and I would rather see that spread out more, but that's nitpicking a little bit. I'm hoping that some of our favorites get a little more airtime next year.
I feel you, man.
One other thing I wanted to mention before we go is that this month's Women's Health magazine actually featured Jessie Graff on the cover and had an interview with her. So that was a pretty cool find.
Dude, that was really cool. And major props to her. That's a big deal. Like, a lot of people read that magazine. And just being the predominant athlete on it just, like, brings you in a higher light. People that don't even follow the sport now know that Jessie Graff is a high-level athlete. That's really cool. And she deserves... I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have met Jessie Graff in real life. That woman is like... I wouldn't be shocked if she has like 1% body fat, if that. She is so in shape.
Yeah, I love that the interview with her goes along the same lines as ours, that it's like, so what do you do, or how do you stay motivated? And well, she doesn't need help being motivated. She needs help motivating herself to stop working out. So she talks about how she settles herself down and reminds herself not to work out at any given point. Just an insane...
Yeah, while we were interviewing her, she was working out. If you remember, on her yoga ball, and like any like break that we'd make, she's like doing some pull-ups or something. Just always working out, and major props to that. That's some dedication.
Yeah. So really happy, always happy for her to get some more airtime, and every time that she gets a feature like that, it brings more attention to the show, which is good for all of us.
Yeah, and props to all the other female ninjas that, in many ways, got other light. You know, we got Tiana Weberly doing some modeling. Same with Megan Martin. And Alyssa Beard being on the Ellen show. I mean, that's really cool. Did you know about that, Rich?
Yeah, she ended up racing. I don't watch Ellen regularly, so I think it's the producer. She ended up racing one of the guys from the show, and it was hilarious. She absolutely destroyed him. As
she would. Could you imagine, like, being prepared to, like, do an American Ninja Warrior, like, obstacle course race, and then you see Alyssa Beard, like, racing gets you? It's like, oh, geez. I might as well just jump in the water now.
Yeah, he cheated. He completely cheated, and she still absolutely destroyed him. It was hilarious. He, like, took off way early and was... Yeah, he had no hope whatsoever.
Yeah, it's... It's just not going to happen. Yeah, that's crazy, man. So props to all the female ninjas. I mean, becoming such superstars in many ways. Of course, Casey Catanzaro going to WWE. Cool stuff there. Yeah. The men, it's intriguing because the men, I don't feel have gotten such a spotlight as the women ninjas. That said, there's a higher percentage of men in the sport. So it's like, pluses and minuses. So yeah, man, why don't you let everybody know what's going on next week, like a general overview, what people can expect.
Sure. So next week we will be joined by Taran and Lita from Rob Has a Podcast and Travis from ANW Fantasy to present the awards. So we'll be going through them all, announcing the results, and having a good time and talking about the choices and our picks and how they might have differed. Some people, maybe some honorable mentions that didn't make the category cuts. And yeah, just having a good time. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. The important part is the discussion, and I'm really excited to talk and listen to other viewpoints about the season. I know Taran and Lita actually liked the Alyssa Beard music video that I just lost my mind at. So it's intriguing to hear different viewpoints and how people perceive everything throughout the season. And it's going to be cool things. Stage 5 Ninja Awards, y'all. Be ready.
So if you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am on Twitter and Instagram as @ninjapodcast. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up, y'all, at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151. Twitter and Instagram, y'all.
All right, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace! Awards next week!